Guys, welcome back to my YouTube series. It's Enrong here. We are finally back with the Grand Prix World, my career with Stewart Grand Prix. We're back for episode 49, and we are back for season 4, 2001, round 1 at the Australian Grand Prix. I'm really looking forward to this, guys. I know a couple of you have been asking me for a while now to get this all done and dusted, have a look at this, and so on. Yeah, obviously it's been a while since my last upload. It was over a month ago at this stage, about 6 weeks ago. I think it was the first week of October. But look, I'm glad to be back. I said I would get around to it eventually. I just took a break myself, wanted to do some other things in life, as you know, which mainly implies I was sitting around for a month. But anyway, let's get straight into it. Let's have a look at everything, and yeah, let me just start, guys, by going through kind of brief synopsis of I guess what's happened last season to this season, of course. McLaren obviously won the Constructors' Championship from Ferrari. We were 5th behind Williams, a long way behind them. They were closer to McLaren and Ferrari than we were. We were quite close to Benetton, but we ultimately couldn't make up the gap. Damon Hill, of course, carrying, I think, that Benetton team to that 4th place in the Constructors. Schumacher won it from Frentzen. It was a close enough battle for most of the season, but Villeneuve seemed like he was the quickest driver. He could never really kind of put it together in the races, and always seemed to drop back quite far, even though he had a lot of strong qualifying performances. And it also seemed like the Williams actually had the best car last season, so it was a bit surprising there on that front. The main points, I guess, then the major driver moves that happened over the last couple of, from last season to this season. I guess the big one was kind of Benetton retained Damon Hill and Giancarlo Fisichella, as you can see here. Hill, of course, the best wet weather driver in the game other than Schumacher. Of course, they're basically the same. Yeah, Damon, a very good driver. 3 on speed, though, not the best dry weather one. And he's also 10 million at 40 years of age. But I'll tell you what, I mean, you're getting your money there. And he proved it last season by scoring, I think, 30 of, was it something like 30 or 30 something points of the Benetton's 40-point haul, I think it was. Fisichella, of course, he's actually a really quick driver. He's improved once again. He's 5-star now in speed, Fisichella. Really quick driver. And you're getting your money worth there with this guy. And he's a guy I'm going to look to try and sign in future seasons. He's only 2.8 million. And he's at 28 years of age, so this guy could be a real threat to us as well. In other teams, then we have Ferrari, of course. They signed Tuero, replacing Rosset, I believe it was. Rosset was worse, Tuero was better. Still only 1 speed, but he's got 3 wet weather, so he's better than Rosset. But the main thing is Frentzen was retained by Ferrari. He's only 3 on speed, though, so he's not as quick as I think he was. Not 100% sure now, you'll have to remind me. I did obviously a good bit of research, but not every bit of research was done. But his wet weather is still 4. He's going to be competitive, and his concentration's 5 out of 5, so he's not going to be making mistakes like other drivers do. So Frentzen is a factor, I think, in the championship, depending on how the car performance plays out. In other news as well, Jordan are kind of a dark horse, and I'll bring this up later and I'll explain why, but they may be a threat this season or next season. It's hard to say. Now, the reason why I say they may be a threat is because the drivers are actually quite poor. Alesi's quite good in the wet weather. He's 4, which was just kind of like real life, but surprisingly the way his performances have been going in the game has warranted that the game reduce his speed stat from I think it was 3 originally, or 2 maybe, down to 1. So he's not going to be quick in the dry, he's not going to be a factor in the dry, but his experience is quite high, as we can see here. Johnny Herbert is the other one, of course, as well, another old driver. His speed is 2, so he's quicker than Alesi in the dry, but he's going to be slower, only 2 in the wet. And 3.8 million as well, quite an expensive salary for a driver of his talent. We'll come back to Jordan there later. McLaren, of course, retained Schumacher. 5s across the board. Big salary, 25.2 million, but you know what, if you can afford him, if you've got a sponsor like West or East or whoever McLaren have now, which we will go through, of course, in this video. This first video, guys, it's not going to be races. It's going to be more so about the kind of looking at everything that's happened from last season to this season, so we can kind of familiarize ourselves with it. Not just myself, because it's a vital kind of learning experience for me, but for a lot of you guys who, of course, haven't seen the series in about a month or so. So, yeah, Schumacher, of course, brilliant to retain him, and he got a reliable number 2 in Irvine, 4 on speed, 3 in wet weather, 5 in concentration, so he's going to bring the car home when things aren't going the best for the team. Barrichello, of course, you can see our old guy here. He's got 4 speed. He's up against the slightly slower Ralph Schumacher, of course, there. But he's joined Minardi. He might be in for a tough season. It's hard to say what Minardi's pace is going to be like. I can't remember where Minardi crossed. I can say everyone outside the top 5 were last season, because I believe only the top 5 score points, maybe the top 6. So it's going to be tough to think of that there. David Coulthard, of course, is another mention as well, 5-star speed, but he's in the Prost. Our old guy Deniz is partnered by Hakkinen, who, of course, I believe now is, of course, our world champion. So yeah, Hakkinen on 11.4 million salary, and Hakkinen, of course, is a threat with 4-star speed and wet weather. Our team, which we'll come to soon. We'll talk about them, but we signed Moira and Nakano as our guys. Nothing to really talk about there in the materials. Williams have taken Rossett as their second driver. Maybe he was already there. I can't remember. Maybe I'm getting slightly mixed up. But Rossett, anyway, 1-star speed, 2-star wet weather. Nothing to talk about. He's poor. Like, considering you're getting money for him, of course, it's not a bad thing. But he's not going to be doing too much damage, I would say, there. The other thing you kind of have to consider, though, is Jacques Villeneuve. Villeneuve, of course, a big salary. Yeah, 13 point, what was it, 2 million? Yeah. I remember looking at this guy, but the big thing is his speed and overtaking. He's going to be a factor in qualifying. He's going to be a factor in the race if Williams can build this guy a reliable car. And the other factor as well was Wirtz is a test driver. Why would you have him as a test driver? Rossett, well, Wirtz has to be paid a salary. Rossett will never accept a test driver role. There. So, yeah, guys, those are the drivers. Now, our driver is Nakano this season. He's going to be paying us 2.9 million. And it's until the end of next season. Moira is the same. 5.9 million, however. He's going to be paying us until the end of next season. Interesting stats to note here, of course, are the speeds of both drivers, 1 and 2, so we're not going to be that competitive. So, Nakano has a skill rating, however, of 4. I'm not exactly sure, though, what that equates to. Guys, if you know exactly what's different between skill and speed, let me know. That'd be really helpful to know going forward. But the good thing is, the wet weather skill of Nakano, he's going to be competitive in the wet. He's not going to be falling away. Moira, though, will be a worry in the wet. He might not make some races because of his qualifying speed in the wet. We're going to have to send a test driver, of course. That is something we will do in the next episode. The other things we need to look at then, guys, is the commercial staffs, okay? So, as you can see here, Domenicali, of course, for Benetton. Phillips for Williams, both 4-star on the commercial side. Ferrari have Peterson. Sammy is free at the moment, and we have Lambert, and Oliver is with Tyrrell. They're all the 3-star guys. The rest aren't really worth noting because they're under 3, as I've already done my research on that. The good thing to note here, though, is the effort level from the commercial side, so we should be making some rapid enough progress on that side. The design is interesting enough. Byrne is the only 4-star guy. Alperin and Oatley, our guy Oatley there, are 3. No one else is worth noting. They're all on 2. So there might be slight gains to be made because of the designers from us 3 teams, in particular Williams. McLaren, I think, have only got a 2-star. Yeah, it was Gascoigne. But now, here's the big thing, guys, right? We go from that to here, right? Adrian Newey's a 5-star technical director. So McLaren are going to be fighting for championship, and they should be looking to win it. Jordan, why I mentioned they're a threat is because of this. They've Ross Brawn as their technical director. He's 4 stars, so they'll be competitive. We will also be competitive, okay? But Ferrari are going to be more competitive than us. But here's the thing. Williams are not there. Where are Williams? 1. Where's Benetton? 2. Arrows may be competitive now with 3 stars. Pat Simmons, okay? We didn't really have a look at the Arrows driver lineup. I don't think it was particularly interesting. I'll do that there in a minute. But I remember making those points here. I have it on my little notepad open here on my other screen, just kind of looking at it. Yeah, that's kind of the big thing there. With that, McLaren are expected to dominate, I would say, based on that. Mechanics, finally, we're going to have to look to get someone in for Keller because his contract is ending this season, but also, as well, there are a lot of good mechanics on the market. We've Gaydon, Stapleton, Colensaw, and Dassau, all apt and able replacements, I would say, for Keller. Gaydon, of course, at a 5-star, Stephanie on 4, and the rest on 3. And yeah, you would have to say that a lot of teams are in good stead. Our only ones, of course, were 4 stars on the morale for design, 5 for mechanics, and 3 for engineering. So yeah, that's one of the best things. Of course, you can see here, this is why Keller will be going as well. It just so happens that it's in the year that we're going to be replacing him. He's gotten worse since last year. Team order problem, we'll look at that there shortly. Increased driver skill, and again, better wet weather as well, so that's handy enough. We've gotten 16.6 million. And I am going to come to that, guys, in a moment as well. I just want to have a look at the driver order so I know what exactly am I looking out for. That's fine. They're both driver number 1, I believe. Are they equals? I think they are equals. They should be equals. Yes, they are. Sorry, it's up here at the top. Okay. So, last season, guys, we went from an FIA funding of 2.3 million, okay, which equated to about $144,000 per race. This season, we're earning 16.6 million, which equates to about 1.037 million per race. So we're gaining about 900,000, 850,000 there on top of that. Okay. Now the next thing we want to look at here is the sponsors. Okay, we're going to look at ours, and then we'll go into depth and detail looking at the other team sponsors and what they have tied up for next season, because I know a couple of you have been asking for that. We've actually gone from 28.25 million down to 12.6 million. Now you're going to say, oh no, this is an absolute disaster. I would say no, it's not really, because of the fact that we're making up a lot of that loss in the FIA funding, but also in another thing which will be coming to us shortly, which we already had a look at slightly, which was the driver income, because we're not paying a salary in their paid drivers. But yeah, it's going from 1.765 million down to 788,000 per race, so almost a million straight off the bat. It's not a complete disaster though, and we will come back to this shortly. The final thing is the drivers, 2.9 million and 5.9 million. If you cast your mind back to last year, we were paying Rubens Barrichello 5 million a race, and Deniz, of course, is on that 9.6 million contract as a pay driver, which meant we were earning 4.6 million. And now we're earning 8.8 million, which goes from $287,000 to $550,000 per race. Okay, so what this means, taking into all of that, right, ignoring all the other things that we have out there, right, paying for tires, costs to the races, hospitality, which I don't think we were paying last season, all this other stuff, right? We will be looking to maybe do that this season. We'll see. We're earning 180,000 per race more roughly this season, so that's a lot of money. We're earning a lot more per race. So we should be in good stead, considering we were running a steady profit last season, I think. So, the next thing we're going to look at is the commercials. Okay. Now, for this season, of course, we have Baumler. They're our cash sponsor, 2.1 million. We should have picked up someone else, but I made a mistake, if I remember right. Just like I do in every season. Everyone makes mistakes. Unfortunately, I make a lot of mistakes. Baumler, 2.1 million this season. Ford, of course, are our partner. We have them this season as well, and they are gone, so we'll need to replace them. Bridgestone, I believe, we'll keep, do we? 950,000, we do indeed. And Agip, of course, we've tied them up as well until 2003 even. We're paying them 225,000. Fuel is not really a factor in this game, I would say, towards speed. It's minimal. We did manage to flesh out and tie up all of our sponsor slots, though, which was kind of good last season, considering the... we had a good staff and a back room, actually, so it wasn't really that surprising. I kind of was actually expecting it. And we've gotten a couple of sponsors. We've got Komatsu, we have Rosas, Iexon. They're the ones finishing up this season. We're carrying forward Boss, Ventura, and Big Bix, the big one, 2.64 million. They're from the Pencil guys. We're carrying that forward into next season. And you can see all this here, of course. 2.6 million for Big, 1.5 for Ventura, 660k for Boss. So that's great, and we'll make use of that. So already, look, we're earning 5.7, which is 361,000 per race. As I said, 805k, I believe I mentioned already. Sponsors, is that what I mentioned? I said 788,000. For some reason, it's estimating that I'm going to get 805. I have no idea why. Maybe I've taken into account in my calculation the reductions because of AGIP. Who knows? I can't remember exactly. But the bonuses for this season, we get to assist them with this. I've no real interest in that. And assist with this, I've no interest in that. Access to tire upgrades, though, that'll be helpful enough. We get the bonus income, and of course the annual cost was reduced for us. And we will keep, of course, the partner deal with Bridgestone going forward into next year. And of course with AGIP, we have the fuel customer deal with them as well. So guys, that is the sponsor part done. As I mentioned already, this is going to be a slightly longer video. We're getting you back into it, so I'll be uploading this video and one more video, which is the first race of the season today. And hopefully, tomorrow is going to be a busy day for me, but I should be able to get out another 2 videos at some stage if I can free up some time in spots there. So guys, let's look now briefly, of course, at the sponsors that everyone has. Team sponsors, of course. Let's get rid of this. So, for 2001, Sauber have the E-Steel, which is a big coup for them. Ferrari are at Murano, McLaren Winfried, Arrows Playlife, Blondes are with no one. Jordan are with Buzzing Hornets, and Williams are with Red Bull. Sauber are the only ones who are the deal for next year, which is East, which is going to mean that the competition for a team sponsor is going to be very, very big indeed. Now, excuse me. For this season, McLaren and Ferrari both have works deals with Mercedes-Benz, and Benetton have a partner deal with them. McLaren are carrying forward that works deal into next season, so McLaren are a huge problem in the face of winning a title going forward into future seasons. Prost have a works deal with Ferrari this season. Sauber have a works deal with Peugeot, and Arrows have a partner deal with them. Mugen Honda have a partner deal with Minardi as well. Now Williams have a works deal with Ford, and they have that for next season. Jordan have a partner deal, and they're carrying that into next season as well. Stewart only have it, that's us. We have it this season there. Tyrrell have that Mechachrome engine as a customer, and that's it. Let's have a look at the data of the engine. So this is where it gets interesting. So as you can see, it's the fuel that makes the Peugeot engine quite tasty there, but it's down a lot on power. It's not a powerful engine compared to the Mercedes-Benz and the Ferrari, for example. You can see why these guys are going for that engine. The problem with the Mercedes-Benz engine is its rigidity. It's likely to blow up and blow a few valves due to the fact that it's bouncing and bobbling around a lot there as well. The Ferrari engine is a decent all-round engine. It's lacking a little bit on the rigidity and the fuel, but it's okay other than that. The Mercedes engine lacking on the heat. The Peugeot engine is just a bit heavy as well. That's the problem there in that regard. We don't need to look at the Hart engine, do we? No, we don't. Okay, so let's look at the Mugen Honda, the Ford, and the Mechachrome engines. As you can see, the Mugen Honda engine, it's down on reliability, which is a problem for them. Down on power, the response isn't great either, and the fuel's okay. So that's why Mugen Honda aren't a great one. Ford, however, I've actually got a good engine, and this is why we went with them when we kept going with them. And we kept retaining them because of obviously we had the partnership and the relationship with these guys, which is important, but also just because it's a pretty good engine. The rigidity is its lowest on 4, and the power is its lowest on 4, but everything else is really solid. Look at the response, take note of the fuel, and take note of the weight, and that really helps with the car's grip in the races as well. And Tyrrell went with Mechachrome, and you have to say it's an average engine, but you know what? It's only got one weak point, which is the rigidity. Compare that to, say, the Mugen Honda engine, which has got a couple of weak points: power, reliability, and response. And you can see, okay, look, I'd obviously rather have the partner deal because I'm not paying anything, but you know what? If you compare the Mechachrome engine to the Hart engine, which has no power, very little reliability, you're probably happy enough with that. So, tyres are next. There's only 2 tyre companies in the game, as far as I know, unless Michelin make an appearance. I believe there's a chance for them to make an appearance. There's some percentage chance that they can. But as you can see, no one, I believe, has deals of Goodyear going into next season. Look at all the Goodyear guys, right? So it's Sauber, Benetton, Jordan, Arrows, Minardi, Tyrrell. Okay, so that's 6 of them. And then there's 4 of us at Bridgestone. That's Williams, Prost, and us and Ferrari are carrying 4 deals into next season. We've got partner deals with them. Williams has the works deal this season. Prost are with the customer deal. Oh wait, McLaren? McLaren also have a works deal, actually, so it's 5 and 6. Okay, cool. With Goodyear, there are 3 customers: Arrows, Minardi, and Tyrrell. And Jordan, our partner, and Sauber and Benetton are works. So like Sauber are doing a fantastic deal, I have to say, with some of this stuff. It's really, really impressive, I have to say, in terms of that. So let's look at the Goodyear tyres and compare them to the Bridgestone tyres. So remember, we've Bridgestone, and just kind of take note, I guess, of the harder tyre as well. Quite a good tyre. The dry tyres just generally from Bridgestone are better than the Goodyear compatriots, or the, you know, not the compatriots, sorry, the what's the word I'm looking for? In comparison to the Goodyear ones of the exact same nature, they're just a better tire dry weather wise. But in the wet, you'd have to say that especially in the wet weather, the Goodyears are just a better tire overall. The only thing that's kind of lacking is the temperature, which the Bridgestone does have, which is kind of handy. But I think I'd rather just have the grip more than anything, to be honest with you. But yeah, the tires aren't great from either manufacturer, and yeah, there's going to be a war, I'd say, for works deals maybe in the future to develop those. In terms of fuel, it's pretty straightforward. Sauber and McLaren both have works deals with Shell, but they don't have those next season. Minardi have a partner deal with Mobil 1. Texaco partner deal with Arrows, and that carries forward to next season. Tyrrell have a partner deal with Total, and so too do Prost. Jordan have a customer deal with Repsol. We've gone with a customer deal for this season and next season with AGIP, and Benetton are a partner deal with them. Finally, Elf partner with Williams. Ferrari are a customer with them. Both those teams carry those deals next forward, or into next season as well. In terms of the fuel, like fuel is an interesting one because it doesn't really affect much. It doesn't really give you much performance. The only thing it's like, performance isn't really an issue, I think, with fuel for me personally. It's the tolerance of the fuel. and I have to say Agip are like right up there, and that's kind of important. I'd rather not be Petrobras, where you have a powerful fuel, which gives you a small increase in performance maybe, but it's likely to blow up. That's where I'm looking there in terms of that. So yeah, guys, in the field there's not much to talk about. Texaco and Petrobras are in trouble in terms of their tolerance. Most of the teams, though, are on at least 3 bars. Actually, all of them are on 3 bars, but other than the Repsol, Petrobras, and Shells of the world. And to be honest, Shell are by far the best fuel, because they got the highest engine tolerance and joint highest performance there. So, guys, that's it in terms of looking at everything. We don't know anything yet. We will do that in the next episode. We'll have a look through everything. But for now, I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next time.